So now that the numbers are in for Fast 10, industry professionals are not very happy. Why? I'll tell you in a minute. So Fast 10's total box office numbers came in at about $719 million. I publicly predicted that the movie would be hard-pressed to hit $750 million. So it's pretty close. I'm not proud of that, but I'm sorry for them. But that's the numbers. And isn't it crazy that a $719 million box office run, which would probably make 99% of the producers around the world dance and be very happy, but this is actually considered bad news for this movie. Why? We'll get to that right after this message from my sponsor. Confession, I hate cleaning my own cars. That's why I love Adams Polishes. Whatever you want to clean, polish, or shine, Adams has a specific product just for that, even for matte finishes. Since 2000, Adams Polishes has been offering premium car care products dedicated to the enthusiast. Whether you're a professional detailer or a weekend warrior, their innovative and effective products will enable you to achieve amazing results on your prized possession. Adams, made with pride and passion in the USA. As I said a moment ago, despite the fact that Fast 10 has made $719 million, it's not enough to make this movie a Hollywood success. And I'll explain that. It's a little complicated, so follow along. I'm going to give you some insight into how Hollywood producers rate a movie's success. There are a few variables and a few measurements. But what they're looking at really, and I learned this when I was doing film and television on the first semester of college. Back then in the 80s, movies were considered a success if it made a profit. Even if it wasn't a huge profit, it made a profit. Of course, they didn't like to make double their money, but if they had a profit, that was okay for them. When Hollywood studios got bought up by big publicly traded companies, all that changed because now they have stockholders. If you're buying stocks and then you want the company to make money. Today, movies need to make 3 times or 4 times their production budget to be considered a success. Let us not forget, of course, that today movies cost much more, even when those movies' budgets are adjusted for inflation. Everything's got more expensive. The actors, the female actresses, regulations, taxes. So when we take a look at why Fast 10 is not being hailed as a success, the numbers show a really dire situation. But to us, we see $719 million, we say, well, that's fantastic, right? First off, this movie cost $340 million just to produce it, okay? That's just to make the film. Then you have to advertise to promote the movie, and now advertising must be done all around the world. And don't forget today, there are many more types of media that must be used to advertise the movie. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, newspapers, wherever that is, streaming ads, everything, radio, all that stuff. Then you have to figure another $100 to $150 million on advertising, including global premieres, flying actors to Italy for the premiere, and doing interviews and having special events and all that kind of stuff. So add another $150 million. So 340 plus 150, you're almost at $500 million. We're talking about $500 million. And so they're into it for $500 million before they even start selling movie tickets. The break-even point is once somewhere in about $500 million, plus or minus. We'll work off of that number. It may be a little higher, a little bit lower, but I'm betting it's higher. But studios don't want to break even, as I said. They really, really need to make a solid return for their investors and shareholders because they are publicly traded companies on the stock exchange. So you have to consider that. So there's a lot of pressure. This is why studio execs are in and out after 2 or 3 years. A 3 times return would be a mediocre return, but a 4 times or 5 times return on their spend is really where they want to be. And if you go higher, then you're a hero. Anything about 4 or 5, you're a hero. So what does this mean in this particular situation? Let me spell it out. It means, in practical terms, that Fast 10 needed to make at least $1.2 billion to maybe $1.5 billion in order to be making a reasonable return, and then Universal would be happy with that. And those numbers are significant. We'll talk about why they're significant in just a moment. You have to remember that, again, Fast 10 made only $719 million, and while paid streaming will add to the final number, it's not going to make another $500 million. So they're never going to get to the number that they really wanted and really needed. And so then there are other considerations. What considerations, you ask? Well, you have to remember that Fast 7 made $1.5 billion. That was the last one with Paul Walker. Remember that? So of course that was going to be a big one. The next one was Fast 8. That movie made $1.2 billion. Understandable because Paul was gone by that time. They were saying that. And then we get into Fast 9, which I prefer not to talk about. Fast 9 was arguably the most ridiculous of the Fast movies, only made $762 million, which was a giant letdown because it just was not $1 billion. But then again, the movie only cost $250 million to make, so it's not a disaster. It's a 3 times return, but they were wanting for more, but the plot was ridiculous, as I said. Fast 10 went further backwards, though, all the way down to $719 million, causing many to say inside the industry and out of it that basically the franchise is running out of gas or already has run out of gas. You be the judge. Worse yet, here in the United States, Fast 10 only made $67.5 million in the opening weekend. They were expecting to double that, 120 million plus, proving that American audiences are growing tired of the Mission Impossible plots. Latinos and people in Europe are not tired of these plots. That's where those movies do well over there. By contrast, the new Barbie movie made $162 million on opening weekend and another $93 million on the second weekend just in the United States. Smoked Fast 10. Barbie went on to rake in about $780 million after about 10 days, and as of this writing, it is sitting at $1 billion. And don't forget, they only spent $145 million to make this movie. So that's a 10x return. That is something to sing about, and Universal must be scratching their head. Oh my God, maybe we should make all Barbie Fast and Furious. I'd watch that, actually. I did that show, whatever. I'm not gonna go there. There's more bad news though for Fast 10. The professional movie critics roasted this movie. A lot of people are gonna say, well, they don't care about that they're old people and all that kind of stuff. They're professional movie raters, okay? They do this, they know what is, they know what good is, okay? These movies are not good. 9 was terrible, 10 was tragic. It was a show. And if you think anything other, you're either 15 years old or you had your hand in your girlfriend's crotch when you were watching this movie. I don't know which one, but this is not good writing by anybody's standards. And there are more troubles elsewhere. There are also problems on set. For quite a while, I've been getting reports that some cast members are not getting along these days. They kind of keep their distance. A lot of them don't even sit down to have lunch on set. A lot of them don't even want to be on set at the same time as certain other actors. So these rumors are reaching me. You've got to think there's something to it, right? And more reports saying that many cast members just basically sit in their trailers all day until they have to report to set. Not uncommon. If it's a hot day, they'll stay in there because it's air conditioning. They don't want to stand out in the sun, so you have to take that with a grain of salt. I get that. In fairness though, if you worked with the same group of people for 20 years, each of you would probably get sick of each other, right? So you're bound to get a little nasty or irritated and so forth. So that may have something to do with absence of Paul Walker, because when Paul Walker was on set, when I witnessed him on set, he was fun with everybody, even the workers. He was a cool guy. He would talk to everybody, anything to do with the movie. He was cool and all that kind of stuff. And there's other actors that don't do that at all. People like Tyrese. Tyrese doesn't want to hang out with the crowd, not at all. He just doesn't like certain types of people. Furthermore, I've been told by multiple people close to production that Vin Diesel's ego is a huge issue, even more so when Justin Lin walked off the picture. Great director with great successes walks away. Something's going on. Vin's ego has been in the media multiple times. It's not a secret, and apparently some of the cast are really getting tired of it. They're just getting what we call franchise fatigue. The audience is looking for something new. It's the same old stuff over and over again. And you show up to work and then Vin is yelling and all that kind of stuff or whatever else is going on the set. Other actors like Tyrese are reported to show up unprepared and forgetting his lines, which saw that in Too Fast and Furious. I just remember a quote my dad used to say. Basically, he said that a measure of a person's character is how they treat people like waiters and general service providers, okay? And like I said, on Too Fast and Furious, I saw Tyrese around many times, but he just didn't really connect with the workers. He just didn't give them a lot of respect. He was just doing his thing, like big shot, ego kind of thing, whatever. I just thought it was a movie star kind of thing because I haven't been around a lot of them, but it was what it was. I'm of the opinion that if those reports are reaching me 6,000 miles away, there's probably some truth to them. So there's a little fatigue on the set, there's a little friction on the set. It could come from any number of things. But basically, my point is that if the cast is growing tired of the atmosphere on set, that could signal that the beginning of the end, as these actors are starting to wonder what their careers will be in a world without any more bad Fast and Furious sequels as the series winds down. Because a lot of these actors and actresses, if you take a look at their IMDb, they have nothing but Fast and Furious credits there. Jordana Brewster has done some TV. All the famous ones like Helen Mirren, we're taking her out of that equation. Michelle Rodriguez, she hasn't been doing much lately. These people are married to the Fast franchise. I don't know what to do with their career after that. The phone's not really ringing. Maybe the reality is starting to sink in. Or perhaps these actors and actresses are realizing that they're never going to earn any Oscars while working on these movies. Some of them have already won Oscars, but those awards were not for any Fast and Furious performances. Why? Because the script, how many different ways I can say it? It's just not good. It's just not good. It's just not good cinema. It's entertainment. That's what it's supposed to be. And with these scripts, I don't see any of this changing anytime soon. So after the last couple of movies, what's going to happen? Well, we'll see about that. But they have some decisions to make before that. So here's what's going to happen. First, studio executives will be having meetings to address the dwindling box office take and the bad reviews from professional movie critics and just general population movie fans. Because if you read the reviews on these movies, especially here in the United States, not good. Universal has said that they will finish Fast 11, which is really part 2 of Fast 10, and Fast 12 was teased by Vin Diesel in Italy at the premiere. Fast 11 is still set for April of 2025. We will see. You can go on IMDb. They're already talking about it. They've already showed that all these characters are coming back, so forth. There is talk about a Hobbs and Shaw spinoff and an all-girls spinoff. That's going to tank because there's nobody strong enough to carry that movie in the current cast. Although Diesel hinted that a 12th movie is planned, the saga may stretch into the second half of this decade. What? Diesel previously said that while the main storyline that started in 2001 with the original Fast and Furious will soon come to an end at the end of the 11th movie or a 12th movie if we get that far. And then after that, what are we going to get? Fast and Furious, the next generation? I don't know. However, subsequent reports from May 1 say that there will not be a 12th installment of the saga. I think they're looking at the box office numbers and saying, yeah, this is not viable. So my prediction is this. The 11th movie will be the last. It will have a much smaller budget, and the movie will stay paced pretty close to home to Los Angeles, mostly because of the budget. But what's going on in California, the budget's not going to be cheap here because California is out of control with regulations and stuff. Or they may move to a relatively close Latin country where it gives tax breaks and all that kind of stuff, maybe perhaps in the Caribbean, or alternatively down to Australia. They haven't been there. They're probably not going to go back to Europe, certainly not going to China. So where else do they have to go? They're not going to North Korea. So what are they going to do? So the bottom line is, right now, they don't know where they're going with this franchise. Many things are still up in the air. A lot of meetings are going to take place. And while right now today we are currently sitting on a writer's strike, there won't be much movement going forward. So we have to wait to see what happens. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks for watching. Please like my videos, subscribe, and it really helps with YouTube's algorithm. I'll see you again next week. Thanks for watching.